while it sets up. Hello, everybody. It's almost time for us to get started. So we're going to wait till 7 o'clock. We got about 30 seconds. If you would go ahead and share, have a couple of parties, and I am going to do the same. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. I'm thankful, so thankful that you decided to join us tonight. So go ahead and get comfortable, get yourself some tea, get yourself a bottle of water. We're going to have a great conversation and give us a few minutes and we will get started. All righty, if you would, go ahead and share so that we can invite some more people on. And we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know why, every time I do these things, it feels like I need to open in prayer. I guess because that's what we do at church.
At times like this, we need it, so come on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pray. Father, we thank you for this time, oh God. We thank you for who you are in our lives, oh God. We thank you for your continued protection. God,
Yes.
even in the midst of a pandemic, you are protecting us, oh God. You are guarding us. Guard our minds and our ear gates and our eye gates, oh God. Help us to know when enough is enough and we need to step back to take care of ourselves. Father, we thank you for mothers and fathers who are taking care of their babies and those people that are on the front line, including teachers and social workers and counselors and workers in the hospital. We thank you, Lord, for your protection. We thank you for this time, oh God, tonight of conversation about being a teenage mom and going beyond. We give you glory and we give you honor that people will be helped from what they hear tonight, oh God. And if they hear it on another night, that they would be helped. They would share the information with someone. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for that liberty. Oh, okay, I feel like I can go on, as the old people say.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. Thank you, Pam and Danielle, for being on. Thank you, Colleen Jeffries. Do you know her? For being on tonight. I'm so happy you're here. And Ken Luster, thank you for being on tonight. We are going to be talking about a touchy subject. I know some people don't like to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it. But the fact of the matter is it happens.
Yes.
It happens every day. We have Katina Davis on with us tonight. I am so happy. Not Davis.
Yes, you're right.
Davis. Okay, I was thinking about your maiden name. I'm sorry. I want to call you Thornton. I'm so happy to have Katina on tonight. Katina and I work together. Hey, Pastor Carla, how are you? Katina and I worked together at Grady for many, many, many years. Katina and I, we're both social workers. She is a phenomenal mother, a wife, and social worker. A homegirl can do some social work, let me tell you. And her population is working with teens and teen moms, and she's the OBGYN queen when it comes to social work. We worked as co-workers, and then at one point I was her boss. But Katina has always been a professional. Even when I became her boss, she was still professional. She didn't try to slide in because I knew her on a personal level. She was just very, when it came to doing social work, she was about social work. And I'm so excited that you said yes tonight and that you agreed to come on and have a little chat with me about a subject. I'm doing everything related to transition, and there are so many types of transition that people don't even think about sometimes. And being a teen mom is a major transition. So I want to say welcome, and I want to say thank you for being on tonight.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you.
I'm so excited to talk to you about your journey. When I was writing down the subject that I wanted to talk to a teen mom, you came to my mind immediately because of your story and the success that you've had with just doing you. It has been absolutely amazing. Instead of me asking questions, why don't you go ahead and tell me about around what age did you become pregnant? What grade were you in? And tell me about the emotions that were going through your mind when you found out.
Wow, I was around 17. I was in the 11th grade, maybe early 11th grade year.
Uh-huh.
And it was a shocker. I was shocked. I'd gone to my appointment. I didn't tell my mother. I went on my own, took the bus, and
Wow.
took the bus. And I never forget when the man, he told me, he said, "Well, I have your results, but I can't give them to you." He said, "You
Wow.
I have to talk to your mother. And once I talk to your mother, then I can give you the results." And I said, "Well, my mom is at work." He said, "Well, just call her. If you call her and get her on the phone, then I can tell you your results." So I said, "Oh my God, there is no way I can call my mother."
Uh-huh.
So I had to get a friend.
Oh, Miss Janice. Oh, I know Miss Janice was hot with you.
So I called up a friend and I told her, I said, "Pretend like you're my mom." And I said, she said, "Well, where are you?" I said, "Just pretend like you're my mother." So of course I had to tell her where I was. And so she pretended. And so after we hung up, the man told me, he said, "Well, you're pregnant." And at that point, I'd ask, "Can you do it again?" He said, "No, you're pregnant." And I
Wow.
said, "Okay." And I took the bus back home. I didn't tell my mom because I was scared. My mom was a real mom. You know, I've been scared of my mom all my life. So I knew there was no way I can tell her. So of course, I'm riding on the bus and there's just, feeling of shock. I'm
Yeah.
sad. I'm
Yeah.
disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could I let this happen? But then again, I'm thinking in my mind, oh, this could never happen to me. So I'm just embarrassed,
Yes.
and then, days have gone by, and eventually my friend told her mother, and her mother told mine.
Wow.
hmm
Wow.
Yeah, so that's how it got out. And I don't know what my mother reaction was because I left before I could even see the reaction.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I left. I packed up my belongings and I went to live with my baby's father and his
Uh-huh.
mother.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I went to stay with them. But eventually she found out. And
Okay.
she understood because she had me when she was young.
Okay.
hmm
So let's talk a little bit about now that she knows, and now what did you do? Did you continue in school? How did that work out?
Okay. So it was almost, let me go back a little bit because when I found out, it was like the summer and I had just finished maybe 10th
Uh-huh.
grade or so. I
Uh-huh.
was just
Uh-huh.
finishing up. So I I told her, and she was disappointed, of course.
Uh-huh.
Um, we did eventually we sat down, we talked about it. She asked me what did I want to do, if I wanted to parent, we talked about
Yes.
options, and of course I said yes, I wanted to parent, my baby.
Yes.
Said, "Well, have you talked to him? Is he on board?" And I said, yes, everybody was on board.
Wow. 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 Okay. So that's the summer. So you went back to school in the 12th grade?
So during the summer, right, I went back to school going into the 11th grade. So I
Mm,
actually left Atlanta because I was in Atlanta. I was living with my mother. So I ended up leaving and I went to Birmingham to live with my grandmother.
okay.
So there was some pause in my school because I had to get transferred. Everything had to be transferred to Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So once all that got transferred, then I went to school in Birmingham. I did stay with my father for a minute. I didn't stay with him very long because his wife was pregnant as well. And
Mm-hmm.
two pregnant women in the same household just don't get along. So, so I didn't stay there much longer. And then
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to my grandmother's house. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and growing up, parents, they didn't talk about grown folk stuff and what happened at grandma's house. And Lord have
Yeah.
mercy. I thought I was gonna go stay with grandma and be okay, but there was
Yeah.
another story waiting on me there.
Wow. 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 So now once you made your decision that this is what you were going to do, you were going to parent, did your family get on board and were they supportive of you? How was your support system?
I had a very, very good support system. Like I said, it was just the point of me getting it out there, let my family know that I
Mm-hmm.
was pregnant. Um, my aunt on my father's side, very, very supportive. She was the one that kept criteria for me when I did eventually go off to college.
Mm-hmm.
But my
Mm-hmm.
aunt was supportive. My grandmother, yes, she was supportive. Me and my mother, we we didn't talk a whole lot, but I knew she was there. If I needed
Mm-hmm.
her, it was just the communication just wasn't there. The relationship wasn't there. So a lot of my support really came from my grandmother, my aunts, and uncles.
Well, let me ask you this. So, what would you advise or suggest to parents or people that are having to deal with this? How would you suggest you relate to if you have a daughter or a son that they come and say, that I'm pregnant? What language would you say that you should possibly use with that particular teenager?
Mhm. I think just whenever you're trying to tell your parent that you're pregnant, it's always difficult,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I've tried to have a open relationship with my daughters to
Mm-hmm.
say, whatever is bothering you, whatever you need to tell me, just tell me, and I
Mm-hmm.
try to explain what I went through as well. So I want to keep the relationship open. So yes, it's hard to just sit down and say, Mom, I'm pregnant. It's no easy way
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
difficult because again, like I said, your parents, they have expectations and goals
Yes,
that they want
yes.
to see you accomplish. And then now it's like you have to go to them and tell them about this, and they're, you disappointment. You just don't want to see that.
What made you decide to go live with your grandmother instead of staying here in Atlanta or staying
Well,
with your dad?
hmm Well, when I left here, like I said, me and my mother, our relationship, wasn't the best. Once I got pregnant, so I decided, and she as well decided, you need to go live with your dad or somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
I went to live with my dad, and like I said, that just did not work out. So then after leaving him, I went to stay with my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and um, that was the last option for me was
Yeah,
grandmother. There's nowhere
yeah,
else to go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I had to because I needed to be stable. Because
Yes.
I said I was living with my boyfriend and his mother, which is Kateria's father. So I was living with him and his mom, and I knew that was not a stable environment that I needed to be around because I needed to get to appointments. I needed to make sure I had
Yeah.
balanced meals, and I needed to
Yes.
still go to school.
Yeah.
So I had to, make that decision. And from talking with my father, he was like, well, you need to come on home, come here,
Yes.
stay with us, and we'll work it out.
Wow. Wow, wow. If you are just joining us, we are talking with Katina today, and we're talking about teen parenting and beyond. We thank you so much, Geraldine, for chiming in. She said this is a needed topic. Um, Thank you, Gary and Elizabeth, for being on, and thank you, Arch, for being on. We are excited to have her, and to have her even open up and share such a sensitive and private topic. We really, really appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted for you sharing your heart and sharing what you experienced. Once you moved with your grandmother and you decided to go to school, how was that transitioning, returning to school?
Oh God, that was stressful
Yeah.
because my grandmother, she lived in the projects. So we had to find out about schools, for teen moms. I didn't know they exist. But there was a couple of other young ladies that lived in the same community,
Mm-hmm.
that was attending a young mother's program, and that's pretty much how I found out about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
initially I was going just to a regular high school with all
Mm-hmm.
regular kids, and then I was told that I couldn't continue to go there because I was pregnant. So of course I was a liability to them. So I had to
Wow.
find a school that would, let me be able to come and go to class, being pregnant. So then that's when we, like I said, we learned about Ansley. It was Ansley Magnet School, and they had a
Mm-hmm.
young mothers program. And so I enrolled into that school. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Usually, and it wasn't in our district; it was out of district. So that's
Mm-hmm.
always an issue, just like it is now. And there was
Right.
no school of choice of anything. So, but because I was pregnant, I was able to attend this school. And there were other, like I said, there were other young ladies, that was in the community that I lived in.
Uh-huh.
We all caught the same bus. We were on the same bus
Wow.
together.
Wow. 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 So you did your whole senior year at this school, and then you graduated.
Yes, so I did 11th grade, and then some of the 11th grade, the end of
Mhm.
it, then 12th grade. Yes, at this school.
So tell me about the school. I think you had the baby while you were in the 12th grade, and
Mhm.
there was a daycare, or there was a program for teen moms. Tell me
Ye-
about that program and how that affected you and helped you, or did not help you.
Yes, that was a wonderful program. I loved it. I mean, they fought for me to stay there because usually
Wow.
what happens is after you deliver, you go back to your home school. You don't stay there. But
Wow.
the counselors, right, the teachers, I don't know why, but they just enjoyed me. they said,
You
no,
know
we're
why?
gonna
You just got a great personality.
they said we're gonna fight for you to stay here. So I said, okay, and I was on board with it because I loved it. I mean, I was doing good in school, grades were great. I was, new people. I didn't feel, ashamed anymore because there
Yeah,
were other
yeah.
girls that was there for the same reason, and so they were helping me a lot. The program really helped. Yes, they did
Mhm.
have a daycare, but I didn't need the daycare. But
Okay.
it was there in case if I did need it. Like
Hmm.
I said, I still had support from my grandmother, and
Hmm.
so they were able to keep her while I attended school. But I went to school. I went to my same classes. We changed all anybody that was pregnant changed classes at a different time than the regular students. We still went to regular classes. We learned just as they learned as well. So there wasn't a big difference, but there was just it was catered to us. That program
Yeah.
was so if we felt sick, we had somewhere to come to. We didn't go to the regular nurse. The program had their own nurse that we can go to and talk about how we were feeling, and then they could call EMS to come get us or a parent. There was a back door that they can wheel you out without having to walk through the hallways of the school if you got sick. That same door is the door you would use to bring your child in, if you did you utilize their daycare. So the program was really, really good for me.
So did when in thinking about the pregnancy, when you first found out you were pregnant, before that time, had you thought about going to school, going on to college and graduate school, or what you were going to do after graduation?
At that time, you know what, Sonya, I did not have a clue what I was going to do. I
Okay.
knew I was pregnant and didn't know what my goals were.
But
If
so
I had,
before you became pregnant, did you have goals?
before I became pregnant, yes, yes,
And
there
what
were
were your goals before you became pregnant?
those goals were to yes, to go to school, to go to
Mhm.
college and become a nurse. That was my goal.
Really?
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So after the pregnancy, I mean, after you found out you were pregnant, what was going through your mind when you thought about school and life and what's going to happen? And
I felt like it was the end.
wow,
There was no nothing, that it was
wow,
just going to be me and a baby, and I was going to have to figure it out. I wasn't thinking about school. I was thinking about moving, where, when I get out of school, finding a job, and where am I going to stay with my child. That's what
yes,
was on my mind. Because again, like I said, I lived with my grandmother, but not only was it my grandmother there, I had an uncle that lived there as well. And my uncle, he was on drugs real bad. So
wow,
yeah. So there was it was a lot going on in the household that, like I said, before I even got there, I didn't know about, because those were things that your parents, you don't talk
hmm,
about. So it
hmm,
wasn't until I got there to realize, the condition that my grandmother was living in, with her son, taking care of him. He's an able-bodied person, but he was on drugs, and it was just devastating to be in the home with that, and having to, put locks on your doors, um,
yeah,
having to count your clothes to make sure all your clothes were
wow,
there when you came from school, that nothing was missing. So it was hard. I mean, not just dealing with the pregnancy, but dealing with your home environment, that
yeah.
you're dealing with. So, um, oh God, it was just difficult.
Wow, yeah, I can only imagine. So you have the baby, you graduate. Oh, you all, if you have questions, go ahead and put it in. We want to get those questions. Hey, Yolanda, how are you? So you have the baby and you graduate. So who decided, well, you're going to continue on with school? How did that happen?
Yes. So one day, this is another uncle. I said, this is my favorite uncle. And he had his own subway. He was the uncle that went off to college. He did really well. And he had told me, he said, you're going to college. He said, I'm going to make sure of that.
Wow.
He said, you're not going to have to worry about anything. He said, I just need you to finish school, and I'm going to get you into college. And I said, okay. Okay, so what ended up happening is the Young Mother program, the news came to the school, and they wanted to
Mm-hmm,
do a program with, it was teenagers and tough decisions.
mm-hmm,
So I was asked to sit on the panel and talk about, what my goals were, what am I going to do, now that I have this baby. And so I was on the news. So on that particular topic, there was this lady, I don't know this lady, but she was watching the news that day. And my last name was Thornton at the time. And her husband's last name was Thornton. And so she
wow.
asked him, she was trying to tell him, come in the house. I need you to come and watch this on the news about this girl. She's a teen mom. She had dreams about going to college, but now those dreams are gone. So he missed it, but he got up the next morning to
Mm-hmm,
look at it, because they replayed it again. And when he saw
mm-hmm.
it, he said, you know what, I'm gonna call that school, and I'm gonna offer that young lady a scholarship.
Wow.
And he worked for, he was one of the admission for Talladega College. He worked in
Uh-huh.
admission. So yeah, so when I got to school the next day, they was like, Katina, you're not gonna believe, we got a call from this man, and they was like, he's gonna come here today. He said he wanna offer you a full paid scholarship to go to Talladega.
Wow.
And that's how I end up going to Talladega.
That is a blessing. Oh my God. You were also in the newspaper. So was this the same newspaper article? And they did a newspaper article and a television slot. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, they did the television, they did the news article, and then they did a follow-up once I graduated from high school. They came to the high school during my graduation. They filmed there. And
Wow.
then we had to take a trip down to Talladega just to kind of look at the campus and to look at housing and the event that I had to bring Kateria with me. So during that time, they followed me. The news followed us down there and did a story from that as well.
Dang, you're a celebrity. I didn't even know that. Wow, that is amazing. That somebody said you talking about favor. Oh my goodness. First of all, if you look back on it, you had somebody to help you. You had family to help you. You had somebody to keep your baby while you went to school. And then you get a scholarship. You talking about favor. Oh, you had a place to stay. You know, we've had people when we worked at the hospital, they didn't have anywhere to go for themselves and their baby. They didn't know where they were going. Right. So it's, man, wow. So once you get your, you go to Talladega, did you stay on campus?
I did. I stayed on campus, and my favorite uncle, he said, okay, well, since you have a scholarship, I'm going to pay for her childcare. And childcare is expensive.
Yes.
And she just wasn't going to any childcare. She was going to a Christian private childcare center.
Wow.
So for the 4 years I was in college, he paid for childcare. And then my aunt, my father, his sister, her and her husband, they kept Kateria the 4 years for me. So the agreement was that I came home on the weekends to be with him. So my uncle, and I'm talking about the other uncle, my Uncle Robert, who is my aunt's husband, he was in the military in Pell City. So he would get off on Fridays and he would pick me up at Talladega, and then we would ride home together.
Wow. You're talking about a village. Yes. Oh my goodness.
It takes a village.
Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody pitching in. Oh my goodness.
So eventually I had to move out of my grandmother's apartment, and I stayed with my aunt, because that was just the best thing to do. Like I said, my grandmother was dealing with a lot of things with, her son, and it was hard. It was a lot of stress on me, still being young and being a mother. And it's hard when you got to come home, from school, and you see stuff missing that you work hard. Still had to work. I went to school.
Wait. You worked too?
Yes.
Wow. So when did you have time to work?
After school. After school, I worked at Burger King.
This was when you were in college, in undergrad.
This is why I'm pregnant.
Wow.
Yes, I had a job at Burger King.
Okay.
And I wasn't on a whole lot. So when I went on my interview, they couldn't tell. So as I started to get bigger, I never forget the man told me, he said, if I knew you were pregnant, I would have never hired you. And I said, I know. So I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
And I worked there up until I went off to college.
Even after you delivered the baby, you still worked at Burger King?
I had to. I mean, she had Pampers, milk, even though I had WIC, food, but still, I had to work.
Yeah, and people think WIC is enough to last the whole month. It really isn't.
No,
it really isn't. Yeah. Man, that is absolutely amazing. So once you graduated from somebody said, what a village. It takes a village for children and parents alike. Somebody said parents too. Yep, you are absolutely right. It takes a village for all of us. All of us need a good support system. Hey, Nikki, how are you? Thank you for logging on. So you graduate undergrad. Wait, first of all, what made you go into social work instead of nursing?
Okay, so I got to Talladega, and I never forget. I had this one, you're taking a lot of biology classes and science classes, and I had this one professor had a heavy accent. Oh my God, I could not understand. I just couldn't. I couldn't understand him. There were different complaints. I was just like, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna lose my scholarship because of this class. And so then that same admission counselor, he came, he said, well, what else is it that you want to do? What do you like to do? Because he said, why did you choose nursing? I said, well, I do. I want to be a nurse. And he said, well, that's just not enough. Tell me something else. What else do you like to do? So, I started saying, I like to talk to people. I like to help people, and he was like, you don't need to be a nurse. He said,
Wow.
you need to be a social worker. I didn't know what a social worker was. I didn't, and I said, well, what is a social worker? And he said, I'm gonna connect you with one of the counselors, and I'm gonna let her go over that with you. And I changed my major.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Man, whoever you are, because she's a great social worker.
Yes, his name
Wow.
is Pro Thornton, because we had the same last name.
Yeah.
So his wife thought we were related, but no relation at all.
Wow, that's amazing. So you graduate from undergrad. Let's see what they're saying. Somebody said, I ain't no teenager and I'm still dog pedaling through parenting. Help, Lord.
I know, it's a struggle.
Yep. Somebody else said, what a village. Yeah, you're right. Her village is the bomb. Somebody else said, wow, a miracle. And somebody else said, I'm gonna cry with y'all tonight. Don't cry. Then somebody else said, tell him I need another uncle too. Wow. So thank you, Reggie, for joining us tonight. And Jamie, hey Jamie, how are you? Your sister.
Yes.
I can't pronounce her last name. Salandi.
Landy. Salandi.
Hey Jamie. So now you graduate from undergrad. Did you think that maybe you were that was going to be it, or what propelled you to go continue on?
Yeah, I thought that was it for me, because I was a school person. I didn't like school, period. High school, none of it. So even when my uncle said, you're going to college, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? When I graduated, I decided, I said, let me work. Let me get some experience. And I've been always one that encouraged myself, and I was one that looked at my mom mistakes, and I knew I never wanted to be like my mother. I wanted to be better than my mom. So that was something that pushed me as well. So just like with college, my mom went to a 2-year. So I was like, no, I just can't do a 2-year. I got to do 4. I'm trying to break the cycle. Breaking the cycle.
Okay.
Like I said, she had me when she was very young. I had mine when I was young. So that's when I felt like I'm in a cycle now.
Yeah.
So then, and I'm looking at my mother, and I said, okay, well, she went 2 years. Now I got a scholarship to go 4, and I'm not dropping out. So let's do it. Then from there, it was, like I said, I worked. I know my mom, she worked, but I was like, I'm gonna work harder.
Yeah.
And then at this point, like I said, I had different jobs. I'm in Birmingham. I worked at this place, Jefferson Blunt St. Clair Mental Health Authorities. I worked there as a case manager. And then I worked at a nursing home as a social service director, admission coordinator. And as I'm working these different jobs, I'm getting a feel of what I don't like.
Yeah.
And what I do. So I was like, no, nursing home is not for me.
Yeah.
Mental health, that's gonna be everywhere. So
yeah.
Working different places. And then one day I was just like, you know what? I started thinking back. my mother. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going because I don't like school, but this is I'm challenging myself. And I'm telling, like I said, I'm always encouraging myself that you
Yeah.
can continue to do better. I couldn't wait on anybody else to encourage me, even though there were some, families that was whatever I was doing at the moment. It was, yeah, you got it, you can do it. It
Yeah.
never what I'm thinking about continuing to doing that they didn't know of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had to encourage myself that you can do it, take risks. What you got to lose? So go ahead, fill out the application, go back to school. And then at that point, that's when, I got accepted and
Wow.
I moved to back here to Georgia with my mother.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Jamie says, love my sissy. She is my full-time mama. Yolanda says, set up in a good way. So I want to get this. So you came back here. So did you go to Clark Atlanta?
Yes, I went to Clark Atlanta University.
So how were things set up here when you came back?
well,
Who kept Kateria?
well, Kateria at that time, she was in elementary school. So they kept themselves then. Yeah, we were living with my mother and we had the best relationship. Me and my mom, the best relationship when I
Wow.
moved back because there was my brother and my sister that I loved dearly. So when I decided to move back, like I said, I worked hard. I was working before grad school. I was working 3 jobs. I was
Wow.
doing social work, fast food. I was working um, because I didn't have any other option, so I had to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when with all my jobs I had, my mother had moved into her house, and I never forget. It was Christmas, and I told my mom. Well, no, I didn't tell her anything. I had gotten a key to her. She sent me a key, or I had a key, whatever. I went to visit her one time, and I went through the house, tried to see everything my mom needed. Like I said, she had just moved into her house, and I just wanted to bless my mother, because I love
Yes.
my mom. And she just moved in. It wasn't a whole lot at all there, and I knew we were coming too. So that year, like I said, it was Christmas. I had a friend. I got a U-Haul, and I packed that U-Haul up with everything. I bought my mom a washer, a dryer. Um,
Wow.
she needed a vacuum cleaner. My sister needed a bed. My brother they needed bedroom sets. That was purchased. Curtains, sheets, you name it. Silver plates, pots, pans, forks, spoons. I
You
can't.
purchased
And
all of
then,
this for your mom?
I,
Wow.
yeah. And then I stayed. I stayed with me and Kateria. We stayed with my mother, my sister, and brother. And I went to Clark, Atlanta.
Wow. How somebody asked the question when you mentioned fear earlier about fear in your mom, how do you think we can eliminate the fear between the generations?
We just got to keep talking. It's all about communicating and letting your child know that you're there. And my mom have said that to me too, but I see a different side.
Uh-huh.
She can say something, but I see a different side of her whenever I might have, let's say, had a bad grade or something.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And then, I see her lashing at me, and I'm like, okay, if she's lashing at me about a grade, you think I'm about to tell her that I'm pregnant? Mm-mm. So yes, there was that fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think being honest, yes, you can be stern in a way, and there's just a way to talk to kids to where they have to be at ease, to where they can know that they can trust you and that you're not going to, flip out and want to curse and call them out their names or beat on them. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I try to do, with my girls, to say, you can come to me about anything. And yeah, it's hard. And I know it's still hard, even though I can say that all day long,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's just hard.
And the more I read about trauma, I was at a conference today online, and if they said that your childhood stays with you forever.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the way we have been treated and the way we treat kids causes causes trauma on them, and it stays with them until they get counseling or get some type of healing. The yelling and the shame that we do to our kids, that has lasting effects on our kids. I've come to find out yelling is not the best way. Shaming your kids in front of their friends or their relatives, that's not the best. That stuff can stay with you, and it affects us all differently. You may shame me and I may just shrug it off, but you may shame Danielle or Jocelyn, and that can have lasting effects on people. So,
Right.
I'm a proponent of, when you know better, you need to do better. So
Right.
what worked for us back then is not necessarily going to work today.
Right. Because when I think about both of my girls, they are totally different. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Mahogany, she's very sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to treat her a certain kind of way. So some people might say, well, you're babying her. I'm not babying her. It's just there's a level of respect that I have for her and her feelings. And I know there's a way that I have to communicate with her to get my point across, and to keep an open relationship and communication with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Tyria, on the other hand, she's my tough, she's my tough ride or die girl.
Yeah.
So with her, it's, I don't have to be that way with her. I could
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
however. She gets it. She got it. So I don't have to worry a whole lot about Kateria like I do Mahogany.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, let's ask a question. How old is Kateria now?
Kateria will be 30 in October.
Wow. 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 30 years ago. Oh my goodness. Katina, 30.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big number.
Yeah, she'll be 30 in October. She has a
Wow.
baby, Kamaria.
Wow.
She's 1, so I'm a grandmother now.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You have done so well. And of course, I don't know all of the details. I didn't know all that you shared tonight, but you have been able to even in the midst of that transition, being a mother, a teen mother, can be tremendously hard, but you made it work. You did what needed to be done. You had a support system, and then you yourself was a sort of go-getter. You wouldn't let yourself fall. You wouldn't just lie down and say, whoa, it's me. No, you got up and you did what needed to be done. Danielle says, healing is my portion. Trauma is being removed from my bloodline, past, present, and future. And you know what? Sometimes, and I'm continuing to read, I'm finding out that trauma can be passed down.
Yes.
I'm reading this book called Traumatic Slave Syndrome, stuff we still dealing with from slavery. We don't even know that we're dealing with it, and it's from slavery. Stuff that, our parents did that we find ourselves doing. And people kind of turn up their nose at that. But when you think about it, when you go to the doctor, they ask you about your history. Did your dad have high blood pressure? Did your mama have diabetes? Because they think it's generational stuff that's passed down.
Right.
And so we have to break those cycles, like you said, that you wanted to break a cycle. I just think that is absolutely amazing that you at that young age decided, I didn't want to be like my mom. Not that she's a bad person, but I don't want to be like her. That is, to me, just mind blowing. That you at that young age knew or had enough oomph about you to say that, you know what, I'm going to go on. There's more. I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm just amazed that you, and when you tell your story, all of the stuff that you went through and And look where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
30 years later, 30 years later. So
Yes.
if you were not here at the beginning, Katina works as a social worker in a hospital. She lives here in Metro Atlanta, and Katina and I were co-workers when we worked at the hospital downtown that everybody knew about, that I won't call. When we worked there together, and Katina, as far as I've known, has always worked mother baby. So has that always that population, has that always been your passion, or do you feel like you're called to that particular population?
Yeah, I feel like I was just called to that population. And again, that wasn't something I had experience in when I moved here. And after I graduated, back then you could look through the newspaper
Uh-huh.
and find jobs. And that's how I found that job, looking through the newspaper, and got an interview with Deborah Thomas.
Uh-huh.
And she was from Birmingham. She was
Yeah.
from Birmingham. And she brought me in and she said, "Well, I see you're from Birmingham too." She said, "I was wondering if we was related." And I was like, what a coincidence. This is how I
Yeah.
get my blessings.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
weren't related, and didn't know anything about mother baby, didn't know anything about hospital social worker, just like I said, just trying to find a job.
Yeah.
And when I got the job, yes, I loved it. I hadn't done anything else but mother baby. That's
Yeah.
all I know.
Yeah. 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 That's so what would you tell a teen mom, or even a young person
Mhm.
that's thinking about getting involved in a relationship with a young man? What would you tell them?
There's nothing wrong with getting into a relationship. You always just got to think about the consequences if I get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Not only getting pregnant, but if I get a STD,
Yes.
you have to protect yourself. You can't trust nobody. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You always
Yeah.
have to protect yourself. Just because being a single parent, it's stressful. It was difficult. Just a lot of responsibility, life changing, for you. Um, but like I said, I had to say to myself, it's not the end. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Pick yourself up, stay positive,
Mm-hmm.
um, stay focused. You
Yeah.
know, it takes a lot of courage. And of course, you're going to spend more energy than you think. But yeah, stay focused, and, no negative thoughts. No negative thoughts. And thank God for your blessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, when you're getting into relationships, you really have to be careful, because you're trying to you want to prevent teen pregnancy, because not everybody's story is going to end up like mine.
Yes.
So I don't, condone it by any means by saying, you're going to have, when you get pregnant, you're going to have this support system. Like I said, not everybody's situation is the same. And even though the blessings that I have gotten from that, it still was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It was still a struggle, living in projects, low income, depending on food stamps, WIC, what little child support I got back then, $100, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So being that parent, the father is not there, depending on, like I said, grandmother and other family members, neighbors,
Yeah.
I depend on neighbors because grandmother, Lord bless her soul, but grandmother wanted to charge me for keeping my baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, at that point, it's like, that's when you really start looking at things and saying, I can't live like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way I can live like this. I've got to do something. I got to get up out of here. So it was just prayer. It was, like I said, it was just a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So what would you tell a single, you said that you would tell them not to give up. and to stay positive for even for the single mom or the single parent. Because the mom can have the baby and give the daddy to the baby and say, you raise it, I'm gone. So he would still go through the same thing.
He would still go through the same thing, and I would tell him the same thing. Be positive, no negative thoughts, and just strive for what you want to do in your life. Set goals for yourself, and different, and you got to list them. Not have them in your head. You got to write those goals down.
Yes.
Take them somewhere where you can see them and check them off, and say them every day. Say whatever those goals are. I'm gonna do this. You say those goals every day. You have to make your own goals come true, and I believe every bit of it will.
Yes. Wow. That is so, you have been absolutely amazing tonight. Thank you for being so transparent. Do we have any questions? We're coming up on, we got about 10 minutes left. Man, the time went by super fast. We got 10 minutes left. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat so that I can ask her before we log off. I think we asked that question, what would you tell us, or how would you tell us to support young mothers moving forward? How should we support the young mothers?
Just be there. Be there for them, to encourage them as well, because our self-esteem is very low. We're depressed. We're isolating ourselves from other people because we feel like, we're ashamed to show ourselves. So we're gonna need that confidence. We need it.
Wow. Yeah.
Building up confidence level, because like I said, mine was just shot. It was gone. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want nobody to see me. I mean, I would walk a different way around so nobody couldn't see my belly. So I felt embarrassed.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Come to me to say it's okay. You're not the only one. It's many girls out there. We have you. We're going to support you. And I had to learn. I learned from that. Yes, I had one at an early age, but I said, I'm not going to have another one at an early age.
Right.
So you have to learn from your experience. And I definitely learned. And after that, I waited.
Yeah. Nikki Hardwick said that you are amazing. And then she also says, yep, I see it in my child. Wow. Hey, Robin, thank you for watching. Then Danielle says, I pray that your blessings continue to overtake you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. I need them. Send them. Yes. And I'm proud of my daughter. I'm proud of Kateria. Kateria, like I said, she's about to be 30. She has a first baby. Kateria has her bachelor's degree in biology. She has her master's in public health. So any jobs out there in public health?
I'm sure there are plenty of public health jobs. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I am very, very proud of her. Because I tried to, tell her the same thing. Don't follow in your mom's cycle. Do better than me. I constantly, because sometimes she'll ask me how much you make, because she's trying to make sure she make more than me. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Nikki says, my daughter is a teen mom struggling, fighting with depression.
Let me talk to her. I would love to talk.
So, Nikki, you heard Katina say she would love to talk to your daughter. Nikki, I tell you what, send me, Danielle, if you would put my email address up so that Nikki can send me her telephone number, and I'll get her telephone number to you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Wow. See, we pray if we have one person. Come on now. Come on, Jesus. Maybe I need to pray at the beginning of every interview. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So how are you doing now? It's been 30 years later. How are you doing?
I'm Doing good. I am, doing well. I'm married. I have a 14-year-old. She'll be 15 in October. I had her on my birthday.
Yeah.
Work is work. It's work.
Yeah.
Still mother baby. And, just trying to figure out what's next in my life.
Yes.
What's next?
Yes.
I'm constantly thinking it doesn't stop right here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, License, trying to get ready for my LC, trying to
Oh, but
study
you have your LM, right?
my LM,
Girl,
right?
you good. Yes.
Yes, because I really want to do some individual counseling with teens. It could be boys, girls. I'm just ready to step out there. I'm ready to get it started.
And I have to tell you, there is a lack, there is a need for African American counselors for
Mhm.
teens. Well, for humans, we really need more qualified African American counselors because we don't have that many. And there is a vast need
Mhm.
for counselors in our community.
Okay.
So you go ahead, you get that LC.
I'm
But in the
trying.
meantime, you can go work at the school system because they could sure use you.
Okay.
Any more questions, you all? Nikki says that would be great. She says that thank uh thank you. This is a godsend. Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Danielle said, let me tag some of my MPH contacts. Stand by for a few days.
Okay.
Kateria got to go to work.
Well, she's working, but like I said, I want her to go for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I don't have any questions. Danielle's gonna look at her contacts for your baby girl. So
Okay.
let me thank you again. Let me tell you what an honor it was for you to share your story on my platform tonight. If you didn't catch the whole thing, you can always go back and it will be on Sonya T. Cruel's Facebook page. That's the Facebook page that is on, and then it's also on the YouTube. I have a YouTube page with all of the interviews that we've done recently. Danielle says she got to make more than you. So I would encourage you, if you're looking at the replay, go ahead and leave your comments as well. We want to hear from you. And don't forget to share the information. Next week, we are going to be talking about mental health. I think next Thursday is Suicide Prevention Day, I think, or something. So we're going to have the conversation with someone that is dealing with she has a mental health diagnosis, and she even tried to commit suicide twice. So that she's in a better place, and she wants to share about her transition. That is going to be next week, and I'm excited about that. Again, I want to say thank you so much. So much. I am so honored and so glad that you felt comfortable in sharing your story with us.
Yes.
I will get Nikki Hardrick's information to you,
Okay.
so that you can reach out to her daughter.
Yes, please.
All right. Do you have
Okay.
any closing remarks before we sign off?
I do want to say I'm proud of
Okay.
my other baby from a distance, Jamie.
Oh, Jamie, yes. How is
Yes.
Jamie doing? Jamie is married.
Yes, she's married. She's on her third child. It's due in October.
Wow.
Jamie is
Wow.
in school. She's almost done with her master's, and then she'll continue on to medical school.
Wow. She's going to medical school. Now, is she still here? Did they move?
Yeah, they're in Arizona.
Wow. Congratulations, Jamie. Wow. 3 babies. Girl, go.
But thank you so much, Sonya, for letting me be able to, just share with people my experience as a teen mom. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Tell Mahogany I said hi. Tell your husband I said thank you so much for sparing you for an hour.
Sure will.
And we will talk soon.
Okay, anytime you need me.
All right, babes. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Uh-huh.